Hey everyone, Heather Demetrios here with 3 things to help you make your writing better. So today we're going to focus on how to write a kick-ass first line. The line I've chosen as our example is from one of the biggest books ever. It's not a super voicey line. It's not even an intimidating line, and that's part of why I chose it. I want you to be able to write a line that is going to keep your readers reading. What you do beyond that is up to you. This line accomplishes that, and we're going to break down how such a seemingly simple first line was able to become one of the biggest series of all time, that is, The Hunger Games. So the first line is, "When I wake up, the other side of the bed is cold." What Suzanne Collins does here is first, number 1, she incites the reader's curiosity. She makes the reader ask questions. Who is on the other side of the bed? Why is it cold? How long have they been gone? Is that person in danger? Did this girl's boyfriend leave her? What is this girl going to do next? And so we keep reading. This is what John Gardner calls profluence in his book, The Art of Fiction. And profluence is basically the capacity for the reader to keep making guesses about what's going to happen next in the book. They're asking questions, not just at the beginning, but all throughout, at the end of every chapter, throughout every scene. Every book at its base is a mystery. You are writing a mystery even if you're writing a fantasy. So keep a situation in which your reader must ask questions all the time. So your first line, have them have at least one question that they want answered, and they should hopefully keep reading. Number 2, you want to arrest your reader. You want to make them stop doing everything else that they're doing. You want them to ignore all the other books and content that is out there and keep reading your story. How do you arrest the reader? Now, with a line like, "When I wake up, the other side of the bed is cold," it's not a super jazzy, like neon lights line, right? So the way that you keep reading with that line is because Suzanne Collins has created a character who has to do something next. And we want to see what she's going to do. So Katniss wakes up, the other side of the bed is cold. What is she going to do next? And we keep reading. And it can be as simple as that, right? For what this series becomes, this is a very interesting beginning, right? And it actually, I could just go on and on about like how the end of the book is embedded in the first line, which is great. But in this situation, we just want to know what this character is going to do next. So if you create a situation in which the character has to do some kind of action, has to react in some way to what this first line is, the reader will keep reading. Other ways that you arrest the reader is through voice. Again, this is not a voice-heavy line, but M.T. Anderson's Feed definitely is, and that is my favorite line. And it is, "We went to the moon to have fun, but the moon turned out to completely suck." This is a kick-ass first line, right? It's so amazing. First, it incites curiosity. You're going to the moon? Wait, the moon sucks? Wait, what kind of person thinks the moon sucks? And how do you go to the moon in this story, right? We have to keep reading. It arrests the reader because that voice completely sucked is great. And then it does number 3, which we're going to get to in a second. Now, other things that you can do in order to arrest the reader is to immediately drop them into action and give them things that are going on and they're part of this world immediately and they're excited, right? You can incite delight or wonder in your reader, give them a book with a world, a character that they just can't help but stay in for a while, or create a sense of danger so that they immediately feel protective of this character and they want to know if they're going to be okay. The third thing that you can do to write a kick-ass first line is to establish your authority as the author. Now, I could also say that the third thing is don't confuse your reader. So whichever one works for you, don't confuse your reader or establish your authority. Both mean the same thing. When you write a first line, you do not want to create a line that is so long that the reader has to go back and reread the beginning because they're confused. You don't want to drop them into an action scene where so much is going on that they have no idea where they are. That's an elegant ballet to choreograph. You don't want to drop them into a world where you're suddenly throwing all these new terms at them for that world and they don't know who is what and what is happening, right? So don't confuse your reader. You want them to be active and to be curious, but you don't want them to break the fictive dream. You don't want to break the fictive dream, which is another John Gardner term, which basically just means creating this dream world of the fiction, right? And your reader is in that world. The minute you do something, the minute you have a misstep and you remind the reader that they're reading a book, they might stop reading. Right? So those are my 3 things. I have a worksheet for you, a first line workout, and other information on heatherdemetrios.com, so you can head on over there and get some practice. Happy writing!